Hi there, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Shauna and I help managers of remote and hybrid teams reduce burnout and increase sustainable performance in their teams and themselves. And today I want to talk about people pleasers in the workplace. So maybe you're a manager or leader listening to this video, and maybe at some point in your life you've identified as a people pleaser. If you have struggled to say no to somebody, even if you wanted to say no, if you have taken on tasks or projects that you knew you couldn't get to because you wanted somebody else to feel better, if you have overburdened yourself and induced high levels of stress because you can't say no, then you might have a people pleasing tendency. Now, I myself am a recovering people pleaser. I don't necessarily struggle too much in my work around people pleasing, but I definitely struggle with it in my personal life. My ability to say no or to even create space where I'm not immediately saying yes is a skill that I've had to develop over the years, in particular with my friends and family. But in this conversation, I'm talking about the workplace, and I see this with so many of the leaders that I work with. Now, what I find is that highly empathetic leaders can struggle to say no. Why is this? Because high empathy means that we are able to connect with others, to see where they are at in terms of how they feel or what's going on for them, where we have the ability to step into somebody's shoes and see what it's like from their world, from their perspective. Usually when we look at the emotional intelligence scale, we look at empathy and we look at assertiveness. Now, it's not to say people with high empathy don't have assertiveness, they definitely do. But what happens with people pleasers or people that identify as having people pleasing tendencies is they have to build up that level and balance that assertiveness with that empathy. So it's not to say we want to diminish empathy, but we want to inject more skill, more assertiveness, so we can create that balance. So we're not doing ourselves a disservice, because that's really what it's about. You know, if we keep saying yes to everything, we ultimately are saying no to ourselves. So how do we do that? How do we say no when we are high performers, when we want to achieve many things, when we want to serve many people, when we want to support many people, when we want to be seen as a good colleague or a great colleague, right? This is where the complexities lie. And what I found is that, it's really empowering for leaders to first and foremost identify that assertiveness is a skill. Therefore, it's something that can be developed over time. So I can practice assertiveness. And when I practice assertiveness, I know that this is the first time that I'm going to be practicing this assertiveness. So it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel sticky for a while. And that's okay. Eventually, it's going to get easier and it's going to become more natural. So the first thing, if any of this is resonating with you, the first thing I want you to identify for yourself is, where am I doing myself a disservice by constantly saying yes? Okay, and only you know the answer to this. A leader I worked with recently was saying yes to somebody else that she wasn't reporting directly to, and that person was assigning her a lot of tasks, as well as her own team and manager assigning her tasks. And she had just kept saying yes, right? So what happens? The manager that shouldn't have been assigning her tasks but was, just assumes that, okay, well, this person can handle this. This is no problem. I have permission to do this because I haven't been told I can't. And everything seems fine. So I'm just going to keep doing it. And that's what happens. People pleasers are generally really high performers and seen as high performers because they don't express their capacity limits. So they will just keep taking it on, taking it on, and taking on. Meanwhile, internally, they might be exhausted, they might be suffering, but nobody else knows that. It's really important for us to be able to understand where are these areas in our working life that we are saying yes, where we can put a pause on saying yes. And putting a pause on saying yes doesn't necessarily mean we're saying no straight away. This is the second point I want to support you with today is you don't have to say no straight away. You don't have to say yes straight away. Give yourself a buffer time to think and to reality test yourself. That's really, really key, right? So when we create that space for us to think, we can make a more informed choice based on who we want to be and what we're changing and the skills that we're developing. The next time you're assigned something via email or Slack, don't respond straight away, right? Make your informed decision. Look at your capacity. Look at, is this carefully assigned to you? Or should it be assigned to somebody else? Is this even the right process? That's really important. So looking at where in your work are you saying yes that is doing a disservice to you? What can you do to change that moving forward? And immediately start implementing a buffer time when something is assigned to you so you can make an informed choice. And that could even be when something comes up in a meeting and somebody says, Shauna, can you take that action point away and do that task? Okay, so my response as people pleaser might be, yeah, no problem, I'll have that done. Meanwhile, I'm like, how am I going to get this done? I'm already overwhelmed and I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. But the empowered version of me says something like, that task sounds really important. First of all, what I'd like to do is chat to you directly about it and what makes sense. Can we agree to meet after this meeting, one to one? It's not that you're dismissing anything. We don't dismiss anything, right? But it is about that assertiveness, which is saying, I understand all of these things are important, but here's where I'm at. What's the middle ground? So with my clients, I give them assertiveness templates. And they can customize these templates depending on their situation. But that's the third step I want you to take away today, which is how can you customize some, assertiveness templates for yourself that you would use on a day-to-day basis and have them there to support you as you're building this skill. So, for example, somebody might assign you a task and you might say, thanks so much for sending this over. I sit down with my workload schedule on a Friday. Do you mind if I get back to you then about what's realistic in relation to this task? Or if it's a task that absolutely you should not be doing and you're very aware of that and you're clear on that, the response could be something like, thanks for getting in touch. This doesn't fall under my remit, but can I help you brainstorm somebody that might be able to help? Right now, I know those templates are very generalized, so it's really important that you customize it for you. And every single person listening to this video, their workload's going to be different. The tasks they're going to be assigned is different, right? So really think about what kind of templates can support you. So that's it. Knowing that we can develop these skills is empowering. Knowing that we are our self-worth, ultimately, this is what it comes down to for people pleasers. Our self-worth is not determined by our ability to say yes all the time. If I'm saying yes to this, what am I saying no to? And I've seen people pleasers that have really burnt themselves out because of saying yes to too many things. And I've seen this, in the workplace and outside of the workplace. I've done it myself outside of the workplace many years ago. And really, sometimes we need to feel the pain of that before we can actually start to create some healthier boundaries for ourselves. But I think especially as we continue to work in global environments where we're working across time zones, there's just the ability to be switched on all of the time. It's so important that we have that assertiveness skill built for ourselves and that we continue building it. Obviously, this will come more naturally to others, but if you're anything like the clients that I work with, this can take a little bit of time. So Feel free to comment. Let me know what's worked for you in setting really good boundaries at work. What supported you? What have been your learnings? And one of the most important things that I see in my work is being able to have open, vulnerable conversations, because as managers, as leaders, we can sometimes feel very alone, especially when we're working remotely, right? It's just me and my dog all day, every day. And issues come up, challenges come up, whether it's with our team, whether it's with our work, whether it's with our own stress levels. And not everybody has access to a coach like me that can say, hey, Shauna, like this has come up today. Can we have a quick call? So community is really important, and being able to have a space where you can go, where you can say, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. I need to share this. What does everybody think? So I've created a free community, the Thriving Leader, a Facebook community for leaders and managers of remote and hybrid teams that want to reduce burnout, increase performance in themselves and in their teams. And you're invited to join. All you need to do is click the link below in the description and join our community. Every week I share a live training, resources, and it's a space for you to connect with like-minded leaders that are also, super ambitious and want to achieve so much, but want to do it in a way that feels good to them, right? In an aligned way. So do come on over and join our community. There's so much support, so much resources, and I'd love to have you there. Until next time, have an amazing start to the month, and I'm sending you all the best.